No offense, but I'm still on the part about the 99. There's like 99. An introduction to the heavens. Ooh. It has nothing to do with Rick's call, but have you ever gazed at the sky above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but the vastness beyond, of the sun and the tinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us be a finite space, and amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of boundless sea of stars have firmly taken root, and thus, alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few, indeed, who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It was the technologists of Ally who came closest to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalamon and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read of their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this sort of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the distant past? That their positions continue to shift almost impractically but immeasurably as we journey into... Would it shock you to learn that the stars drift further and further apart? May indeed do so forever? Are we eager to learn more? The book is on the wrong subjects. Well, that is not the wrong subject. That sounds like my kind of subject. Forever 20 summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I too once engaged in such foolish practices. One night, engrossed in political study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mystery that drives us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years of life in which to achieve our goals. Thus do I share with you this mantra. I am forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could be 19 or 23 or 40, whatever your age, whatever age you are when you discover this manual, let that be the age you aspire to remain. Though mindful, healthy living, will you spend the time available to spend upon your chosen research? Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you do. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets of maintaining one's physical condition through a biological, ethological, and arcane viewpoint. This is... I thought it was going to be something else, I'm going to be honest. Time Warp. Stewards of Wisdom. During the chaos of the 600 calamity, Archon and the founder of Charland bore witness to the madness and savagery of men bought on the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island in the northern Anthe, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharians took to heart the words of their savior and henceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other, a nation born from strength of minds rather than strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came through trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering bought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over water. Wealth of expertise can be bartered for wealth and coin, and the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Charland would live by their founders' teachers. For the sake of better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter story, they were eschew rules of war and with knowledge deliver the world. The history and the foundation of the realm. Heads outside. Probably one more book here though. Oh, that's it. Okay. What about the center? Yeah, I read them all. Nice. Get that lore somehow. Reference page. Oh my goodness. We apologize for the inquiries, but the reference desk is currently experiencing an unusually high volume of requests. Please stand by until this issue is resolved. Why is the music so good? I'm sorry. Sorry, were you waiting long? Nope. I learned everything I had to. I wanted to make sure I barred at least promising something around the crowd. Could also be a long. I was delayed in a similar fashion, as far as I can see. No titles in the archive mentioned the final days. So we have no choice but to start with a tangentially relevant tones, if they are even that. At present, the plan is to skim through as quickly as we dare, share our discoveries. It would have been nice to invite everyone to the estate. Comfortable places to supply of hot tea. I was always quite fond of reading inside. It's not about the work. Is your home? It's been difficult. After our arrival, we managed to speak to one of the family servants and asked how things seems our deaf father instructed the staff that even if Alpha and I were to return to Charlian, we were not to be allowed to cross the threshold. A harsh measure indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position and that of the forum will perhaps lead to the reconciliation. Well, we'll mend this rift one day, I'm sure. And what of you, Gaha? Have you been to visit your family, or do you not live here in the city? My situation is somewhat complicated. I was raised in Charlian, yes, but I was born rather farther away. In the southern reaches of Isambard, in fact. Generations, my people have dwelt in Corvos, the coastal region opposite island of Travenair. The Alligans founded a city in that feudal land and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of the Makote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the fourth calamity brought an end to the Emperor's reign, and when the fifth calamity froze the seas solid, many of the tribes still living in Corfu braved the journey back to Auroria's again. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Alligan technology from being Isn't Carvos under Garling rule? Oh. For the past 50 years, yes, some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most imperial provinces. The Garland mob renamed the region Lucas Ammononis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an imperial family, the nobles of House Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Alakan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices have been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After that, after all, the Alakan eye no longer passed to our eldest children as reliably as it once did. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and decisions were made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Allied. As the last child born with the Alakan eye, I was given over to custody of friends and the students of Baldician, who had me registered as a Charlian citizen. I never could forgive me. It was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louis, was he not? Stories of adopted wives and rescued orphans are more common among Charlians than you might think. Yes, regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn. With the sufficient fun, we outsiders can even earn the vaunted title of Archon. This is exactly why I have such love for this country and why I wish it to remain a nation of which its citizens can be proud. Here, another good reason to get to the bottom of the foreign's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our impending doom. Excuse us, trying to make headway to these books wrong. Our company should be arriving any moment. Man. Jesus Christ! That was all of a sudden. Just everyone's our puppets just boot up at him. We returned with our selection. Oh, I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mistress Crow had already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, more than a few which barely made mention of. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the Umbral calamity, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge of the final days come from an unexpected source. Which, when I ask you a few questions related to the final days, I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarat firsthand. Here I'm looking for detail. Yeah. Now, where to begin? First things first, what kind of phenomenon did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? Oh god. Destabilization of creation, man. I think it's, yeah. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manner of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing their powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested in terrible, tangible fashion. Meteors raining from the sky, fire erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. Kind of like like the whole creation was just peeled back and turned upside down and inside out into horrible existence. That more or less aligns with my understanding. If only the arts of creation had survived into the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Ystola surmises that closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Ascians. Was there aught else to note which herald the approach of the final days? Say it began. They say it began with a kneeling sound from the land itself. They say, what a sound. Ah yes, the Amorites spoke of it, didn't they? We never did hear the sound ourselves. Thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. But it seems that each and every one of the catastrophes were preceded by an ominous noise. Eventually it resounded all across the star, and not even Amarat was spared. Now, so the ground was crying out, you say, to be considered the harbinger of doom. It would have been quite distinct and probably quite loud. I had to speak with one of Naran's mammoths and ask after any books that make mention of a sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the ancients sought to quell the sun? They decked out. They summoned Zodiac. Yes, with it literally serving as his heart. So many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. We did not know exactly how Zodiac brought salvation to the star, only that by his godlike, all laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up a further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and was these fledgling souls they intended to render a term Zodiac, a trade that would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones or by the primals. Or might have had Venat and her followers and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Heidelberg. Thank you both of you for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Lalafell really mean when they speak of bringing back the final day. We've seen that they're doing what they're doing with the towers of theirs is forcing people to summon primals, a kind of catalyst. Are they attempting to mirror the conditions caused by unstable creation magics? Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, a convenient metaphor for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all pointless conjecture at this point. Let us return our attention to the forum, shall we? We should keep an eye out for your Stola. But 'tis time we begin studying these research papers. Now who could... If we could actually talk to Heidelberg... Now it's everybody's minions that just popped out of existence. It just popped. It just popped in all of a sudden. Jeez. Stola. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended research of the Arnturn stacks produced one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't give your hopes up. If you recall, Oriander learned that the source's reflections from the Giron Oracle for its potential to cause panic and confusion. That tome was deemed and sealed away in the Great Global Library. Thus, even less likely that knowledge of the uncentered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. Stands the reason that my colleagues, be they Archon or Counselor, who prefer us to be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet when you confront it with knowledge of the Lalafell and the machinations He scoffed at the suggestion that they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Johnny supports the conclusion that whatever wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yet hold something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. You labor for what feels like an age as you've stolen his research assistant. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I missed? Then the days were well spent. Should you wish to read them again, the mammoth at the reference deck will point you in the right direction. For the moment though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. You might be occupied with our research for some time. Okay, so that means that... Oh, okay. Never mind. A seat at the last and... Readying for a tea break, Ronald? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down in the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. Coffee. Now you are speaking the real language, the true knowledge of everything. I ran. Hamburger. Yeah. That was... The last stand. As busy as ever, I see. How very strongly in that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea before we place an order. Why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Lalafell. We might even learn something new, worth a try. Alexa is now accompanying you. Her at their side in order to proceed. You can leave out behind by entering a different area of putting out there. It's the same as before. What is it? Can a man not enjoy a moment of private respite? If you're looking for a shared table, there's elsewhere. You misunderstand, sir. We are simply wondering if you knew of the Lalafell. His enemies a piece of promise an end to all we would hold dear. Wait, you're that house Lalafell girl, aren't you? And this man with you is obviously a foreigner. I heard you were disowned for helping outsiders and are giving truth to the rumor. Well, I'm a memory from one so enlightened. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Do I share your thoughts on the Lalafell and their plans? My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss... My apologies, but I worked in the office of the forum, and if Erd reached helping you, I see. Sorry to but yeah, we're not gonna get help from anyone. It makes sense because Buddy's on edge. What can I offer you today? Oh, is that mistress? You know, my word, how long has it been? Marked. Pete Dickin, the owner of The Last Stand. I used to frequent his cafe on occasion in between lessons at the Studium. That seems like an age now. I remember hearing that you and Master Apno had set for Erosia, but then you never came back. Lately, there's been gossip about your father disowning the pair of you. Everything alright at home? Complicated, and I haven't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quickly. Everyone has an opinion, it seems. Well, it is House Levier. No matter how discreet Master Fuzza may have been, news of your family doings never stays secret for long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now of all time? We have questions, and only Shalian has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon. Have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days? What? Like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's where you're here to find information on this apocalypse? Whatever we can learn, unfortunately our patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me. I wish there was more I could do to help. But Napier is. You're a visitor to Charlian, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server, with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders. Strike up some friendly conversation while you're setting down the food, and you might just answer you're looking for. Yeah, I hate to ask, but what do you think? It's not the first time I've done this. That's the spirit. Pay attention now, and I'll explain where these dishes need to go. Tea set is for the chatty group sitting in the water's edge. The omelet is for one of our regulars, Highlander, by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Behind them, you should see a Makote gentleman who ordered the oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. Charming little tea set. Okay, thank you. A tea set. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. Oh, but what? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them. Or their Final Days. My friends are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, hear about the ritual arcane practices of the Sixth Umbrella. Ripping to talk your ear off. That doesn't help us. Kushma I was looking for. Who asked for the lobster? This in the house because I'm not paying for it. Oh, sorry. There it is. Ah, finally. 2, 4, 6, 8. Let's... What? Lalafell? Ah, yes, I remember seeing the name in the latest Gazette. That and some grand claim about the end of days. Some old senseless Or mongling. When will those peaceful grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Let's stay out of it, I say. The forum made the right choice and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. Even if they showed up on a... First ever made? At last, the oven book master is mine. I have no idea how long this. The final days. This is the first I've heard of it. Although that will explain why my friend has been washed off his feet. It must be a busy time to be a... You know what a gleamer is? They're collectors of a sort. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Charlian. Priceless books, unusual life specimens, and so forth. They're named for those folks who trail after the reapers in the fields, picking up every grain which is missed. By all accounts, gleaning is the most demanding profession. If these Lalafell make good on their tertiary threats, then many rarities could be lost forever. Why else would the gleamers be buzzing around in such a frenzy? Watch the harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before, not like this. So... somebody's collecting artifacts and things. Probably things. Any trouble with the customs? Were you ever to gather any information? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the gazettes are printing. Even Daikon had nothing to offer, and he's the best source of gossip in the city. And the forum, if the forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, thank you for playing the part. So, well, here, that cup of coffee I promised. Oh, coffee. But let's enjoy a drink somewhere else, shall we? Maybe behind the prayer cell, away from the gossip and their wagging tongues. But seriously, coffee. This should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight. Oh. Tempted to go get another can. Who's saying?
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Oh.
It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Charlian?
Yeah.
Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Uh-oh. She's getting an idea. A very terrible one.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos.
What? Where?
A vast complex beneath the island. Sharlayan is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat. Wait! Didn't you hear something in the last stand about the gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And gleaners answer to the Forum. If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Interesting. A labyrinthian descent. We should tell the others what we learned about the creature. Go on ahead, Donora, and I'll join you in a moment. We'll want his cups back. Wait, how come I can't do this? Oh, okay, I have to change my job. We're not doing that right now. Cryo, we're gonna do something weird and crazy. Better stop us. Welcome back, Ronald. Been for a walk and cleared your head, huh? Have you? Not exactly. We did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the gleaners. Why does it sound like cleaners? In a cleaning house. It makes sense. The Gleamers take their requests directly from institutions and bureaus. But as you said, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner class traffic and in cargo certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we can build from the facts. As you Stoller observed earlier, Demer's archive appeared to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what Ronald and Alice say, learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Charlians know nothing of that particular period of ancient history. Yes, my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but are also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Lalafell was wholly unlike these apocalyptic events. Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied by a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. And now the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it is a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities are in service to the Forum's secret events. These are doing something there on their own. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves, and if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive. Question. Oh, what should we expect now? Oh, I would hate to spoil the surprise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to start research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books. Be on your way. I'll see to it that each return to its proper place. That would a great help. Iraha. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. Are we about to open a dungeon? Ready? Not too far from here, but you may find the path a bit disorienting. I'll take the lead, so stay put. All behind. Here we go then. No, you can't. Okay. God, we walk faster than her. Now we try to keep up. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Alice. Get to the path straight ahead. We cross the bridge. Okay, so officially we here we are. Through this door and down the stairs. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It will make your life much easier if you need to come back here in a hurry. Right, we should move it. Why is there a chocobo keeper? Visit to this. We are all here now, yes? I've taken delivery of secure position up for our group's descent. Right, everyone onto the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky. In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge, buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Labyrinthos. Created an artificial sky and everything? Are we in a simulation
Not
now?
what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then. Ugh. Did you call to me just now? No. How odd. I must be a bit dizzy from the descent. I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
I think that was Heidelin trying to get in contact with me and ended up calling her instead. That or she's just trying to contact someone. What the? A whole nother area. Oh my goodness, it's a whole nother area. Wait. Can have here. You're here to help or give me more of it? Give me more headaches, because you don't have the look of a gleaner. And I'm in no mood for idle chit-chat. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of grapes. Now I have to Now I have a pack of Mormonts running loose. Oh, we'll probably have to... We're gonna have to work on flying here. Let me think. This... 10:58. Were they... Oh, my head feels like it's stuffed with moko grass. Why more loads? Why more loads to take out than carry them? Why did I do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the... what then? Large shipments coming in and out of that area. Oh, we kind of figured that. Want to know what I'm doing? Hauling books or fauna. If it needs hurling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in the, you know, tiny inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. They just did one summers ago, even. Then, with no warning at all, this mess gets dropped in our laps. Orders from on high. Damned if I know the reason. Could be that they're changing the layout, preparing for the next big expansion. Preparing for the next big expansion. Any luck, Ronald? The tails did the gleaners sell. Stock shipment. So the grand operations run without warning. And for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. That would explain the haggard I've been seeing. We were right, the forum is definitely up to something. And they're turning Lepros upside down in the process. Have you the right access, huh? Well, if that's the case, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back up here. We're gonna take I'm gonna take a quick break. Just stretch, use the bathroom. And then I'm gonna honestly clear these out. I'm gonna clear these side quests out real quick. I wanna keep this time we're gonna try to clear out everything along the way. Okay? And we'll make sure to do that too. So yeah. Give me about 5 or 10 minutes. Yeah, just give me 5 or 10 minutes. Where is...